what's the first step to overcoming the fear or transforming the fear?
To witness it, to be the non-judgmental witness of it, to look at it and say, something's got to give, right? So if you're unwilling to look at your fear head on and honor it and witness, I always say, if you don't show up for what's up, it will keep showing up. So looking and saying, I witness my resistance, and you see that fear as resistance. It's fear is the resistance to what it is that you desire. And in the absence of resistance, you become a magnet for what you desire. When you let go of that fear and you transcend that fear, that's when you start to become a super attractor. That's when you start to let what is truly of essence for you into your life, what is truly of service for you into your life, what is true happiness into your life. And so looking at the fear, witnessing it, calling it by its name. And even if you don't have the tools yet, what happens is when you look at the fear and you're like, oh, I see this fear, I see this resistance, I see how it's blocking my life, and I choose to see it differently. That's when you're listening to an audio like this. That's when a book like yours will fall off the shelf.
A catalyst.
Yeah,
will open up.
Exactly. You open up your consciousness pretty much. You crack open your consciousness to find solutions rather than find problems.
Right.
And so when you're not looking at the fear, you're just living in the fear and you're believing in the problem. But when you witness the fear and you're willing to see it differently, you start living in the solution.
So it's acknowledging that you're experiencing the fear, that you're being held back, that you're resistant to growth or whatever it is you're looking for.
Not judging it. Look at the fear without any more judgment.
So don't beat yourself up. Don't say, I see it and I'm such an idiot, I'm such a loser.
Right. No, be proud of yourself for looking at it. Be proud of yourself and being aware. And then start, using an affirmation or a prayer that says, I'm willing to see this differently. Show me what to do. And that's when you're going to be led to the book or the author or the yoga teacher or the therapist or whatever it is that you need to transcend that fear. And I believe that the universe works through people. So when you say yes to healing, the healing is presented to you in very profound ways that you could never imagine. And it comes through because you open up your awareness for it.
That's powerful. Is there anything you have yet to heal?
Yeah, I'm still healing this trauma stuff. I mean, it's like I said, I'm in such early recovery. I'm in like the infant stages of this recovery. And while I'm out of the weeds, I've got, stuff to deal with people and I have stuff to deal with my physical body and my sexual energy. And, it's like, it's brutal and and speaking to anyone that's been through this, it's like, I have so much compassion and it ruins people's lives.
Yeah.
And so I have to rebuild my life.
Wow.
And so, I'm going to not be the victim. I'm going to be the survivor and someone who's going to thrive as a result of this knowing and heal people through knowing. But it's work. It's not like it's easy. So, I had dinner with my friend Sheila Kelly last night. She's the founder of S Factor. We should get her on this show, actually. And she and I were talking, and she, it's like, here I am sitting next to this woman who's sort of embodying this freedom, this physical, sexual freedom that I really long for. And she's like, I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to help you. And there was so much resistance. I was like, I can't go. No, it's too scary. And then I was like, wait, this is what I've been praying for. Yeah. I've been praying for some healing, and it's right in front of me, sitting at dinner, offering to be my mentor and guide through this. I have to say yes. So that's the next step in healing fear, is that if you ask for guidance, you say, I witnessed my problem and my fear and I need guidance, and the guidance shows up, you better say yes to it. Yeah. You have to say yes to it. In that
once
moment,
you see the tools with the teacher, take action and start
learning. And people don't, they can come in and they just say, no, it's too much.
I feel like we need to be challenged more in life. I feel like we need to be called to a challenge. And I think teachers or books or podcasts or whatever allow us to create that challenge where someone keeps you accountable to something you should be doing, a challenge for yourself, some type of game. I like to make things into a game. Yeah. Like if I'm scared of something, I talk about this a lot in here. Like when I was a teenager, I was scared to talk to girls. Yeah. But I wanted to have a girlfriend, right? Yeah. And I was just terrified because I didn't feel intelligent and I didn't feel like I was good looking. I was just like this goofy, tall, skinny kid with like acne or whatever, and just very insecure. And so I gave myself a challenge going into my junior year. I said, okay, I'm sick and tired of feeling scared around every single girl that I'm attracted to. Yeah. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this feeling of not knowing what to say, of just like feeling like an idiot. Like I'm over it. Like enough is enough. So I said, every time I go outside during the summer and I see a girl that gives me butterflies, I have to go up and say hi to her. Right on. Just say hi. And then a hi turned into asking for a number, into like meeting up later. And by the end of the summer, I was like, I could talk to anyone. Yeah. It didn't matter if they like turned me down or didn't talk back to me. I was just like, all right, whatever, on to the next, And I was able to transform my fear by just practicing.
By doing it. Yeah.
Acknowledging, okay, I'm afraid, and then practicing different things. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, let me not be a complete idiot the next time and just be more happy or whatever, and just try again.
There's a lot in the book about how to, just showing up.
Yeah.
Just start showing up. And trusting in the process of showing up. Like trusting that there's even when you mess up, you're showing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who was the most influential person in your life growing up?
Growing up, well, I have to say my mom, because while my mom has gone through her own personal healings and struggles, and in some ways taught me a lot of the chaotic ways that I was living, just by being in her presence, some of what I witnessed her do was channel that frantic energy into creation. And so while I had all this frantic energy, I could have channeled into a lot of things.
Yeah.
I did. I channeled into drugs. But at the core, this channeling of the frantic into creating was even though it was coming from a pretty wacky place, was a pretty powerful lesson to learn, that I could do anything, that I could create anything. And so there's a lot of layers to what that was for me. And in retrospect, I can see how it was kind of detrimental in some ways, but mainly amazing.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. And I think back, like, would I change anything about my traumatic past or anything? No, because I wouldn't be me right now. And I live for this life that I'm in. And I love who I am. And I am proud of everything I've done to this point, even though there may have been a lot of chaos in it. And then I'm really proud of who I'm becoming. Yeah. So I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. What was it like when you told your husband when you found out about the trauma? What was that conversation like? How did you approach it? How did he respond?
I mean, I have the most incredible husband in the whole world. And so he held me and continues to hold me in my transformation. And I think on a subtle level, I think he was relieved, because not relieved that something had happened to me, but relieved to know. Because there was such a disconnect, the same disconnect that you felt with me on like these random occasions that we'd see each other. Imagine being married to me.
Every day, like, why is she so in control?
Why is she trying to control it? Why is she so manic, And living with that was very, very hard for him. And there was an energetic disconnect, and all he longed for was that connection. And so I think
intimacy and you letting go and surrendering. Yeah.
And the moment of acknowledging what it was, I think, was just this great relief for both of us.
Wow.
Oh, there's a reason. Okay. I'm not this isn't just a sentence, I'm not going to just be this person. There's actually something to heal.
This is interesting. I don't know if I told you this already, but I'm writing a book called The Mask of Masculinity.
Woo! What a title.
Every female who comes on here gives the same reaction.
That is fabulous.
Yes, and it's about the masks that men wear that hold them back from living the most loving, authentic life they could have, and actually living the life of their dreams and having it all, the relationship, the freedom, peace, everything.
Oh my God, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're so fabulous.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
And in the process of this research, it's been unbelievable, the research that I'm learning and the people I'm connecting with about this. Because I feel like it's my own continual healing process. I wore many masks growing up. I from the trauma and from other things, I just wore them. To protect myself. And I'm curious to know to hear your thoughts on this. Do you feel like you, in any way, hurt your husband from essentially wearing your mask for so many years that you were in a relationship with him, and now finally starting to take it off? Do you feel like you affected his life in any way? Oh,
definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think that, if you're living with someone who has unhealed trauma, or anyone, we all have unhealed trauma of some kind.
Yeah.
That our wounds are a mirror of someone else's wounds, or can activate other wounds. And so I think that as a result of me taking down my mask, he's been able to take down his.
Because he probably had to protect himself, or...
Absolutely. And also just the defensiveness and the sadness of not knowing why there's this disconnect and frustration, major frustration. But, there's a lot to be said for two people that are on a path of personal growth. And when they show up, miracles happen.
Right. How do you feel like he is transformed, or has he, from you letting go and opening up?
My husband is the greatest transformation I've ever seen in my life. He is a miracle. He has completely changed his personality. He's changed his attitude about life. He's changed his hair, his beard. You know, and I say that he's changed his hair and his beard because he's like, you know, he worked in private equity for a decade and then retired from this very big job to come run his wife's business. You know, that takes a lot of confidence for a man to do that.
Absolutely.
And because I'm now in this place where I let him shine in his greatness, he owns his masculinity, while at the same time holding a tremendous amount of space for me to be who I am in the world and be proud of that. You know, standing in the back of my, you know, lecture halls and just like smiling and just being so proud, you know, and not feeling like he is creating this with me. And I know it's God's work. I know that he and I were placed together to do this work. And there's a lot of people in my field that have, you know, teamed up with their spouses. And I think it is. I mean, I think that there is something about having, you know, it all in the same home and trusting the person that's behind you.
Absolutely. Did you feel like he ever felt emasculated through?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
Oh my God. God bless him. I was only in my masculine. That's all I knew how to do.
I know.
Because in that running, like femininity meant vulnerability, and vulnerability wasn't safe for me.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you vulnerable until now. I mean, opening up, you know.
I would be vulnerable on my stage. Like when I would give a talk, I would let myself be vulnerable. You know, just let myself be moved by what I was sharing, because all the while I could feel God move through me, you know, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. I would let spirit move through me. And so there's sort of an undeniable vulnerability that comes through when you're letting yourself be a channel for that kind of truth.
Yeah. But then right when you jump off, you're back into like control and masculine mode.
Yeah.
And,
Second I get off that stage. But the one place where I did feel free was on stage and speaking, and where I would really let go and I'd really let something else move through, or in my meditation.
Yeah.
But now I'm letting it happen in a conversation right here with you, or, you know, in a, you know, I had breakfast this morning with my best friend that I grew up with. I only have this one friend that is from childhood, and he, you know, he's the only one. He's the only one. Yeah. Like, we were like, remember when we were this age? And like, he lives out here, and so I sat with him, and I like didn't pick up the phone. I said, you know, I shared about what's going on with me, shared about his mom's diagnosis. Like we went deep and very fast. You know, we hadn't spoken in about a year, and we went right in. And so this capacity to be vulnerable and real, even at breakfast, you know, it's new.
Any moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's new.
Interesting. How's it feel?
I feel so great. I'm so glad.
You look like you have so much weight off your shoulders.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, don't be afraid I guess my message in this is don't be afraid to let go of the rope, and don't be afraid to let healing occur, even though it's so scary, because it's far more scary not to go there.
Right. What would you say did you realize you were in your masculine energy a lot?
Yeah.
You realized it. You recognized it.
But I had no idea how to get out.
Interesting. What would you say is now your definition, or I guess then, but what's your definition of masculinity in general now?
Oh, what a nice question. Well, I think that there's so much great about being in the masculine, right? For me, it was sort of the embodiment of creation and confidence and speaking up and having a voice, and not that that's not feminine too, but in a sort of loud and proud way, right? Sort of owning my circumstances and not being afraid to show up. Yeah. And so you can do that from a feminine place, of course. Sure. But there's a fierceness around being in that masculine energy, which is, you know, most of my contemporaries that are women, some of which are on your wall, the key to their successes was being in that masculine. But I think the key to their greatest successes will be merging that masculine with their feminine.
You have to let me know, because I've never been married. When you're in a marriage and the female is being masculine a majority of the time, is it possible for the man to be just as masculine, or do they have to kind of default into their feminine to be able to just function?
Well, first of all, I think you should interview Marianne Williamson for your book.
I've had her in.
Okay, great. Yep. But for the book.
Yeah.
Because she's done a lot of work on this concept.
Okay.
But I think that we dance a lot. I think couples can dance between both. So my husband can be very masculine and, take care of business and, runs like my house, like runs on a full tight ship because that man is so, he's like getting his contractor's license. Like he is legit.
Wow.
Yeah. He's amazing. And then also like legal, he's a lawyer. So he runs legal, like he's going to run shit,
Yeah.
but then at the same time, he can move into the space of the feminine and like let me nurture and take care of him in that sort of feminine, softer, gentler place. So I think that learning the dance and learning what, like these areas are when it's great when I'm in my masculine and these areas are great when he's in his feminine and vice versa. And that I don't think there's anything wrong with slipping in and out as long as you go in and out and you don't just stay in these two head-butting places.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely important. This is what Marianne has taught me. It's extremely important that we as women make a commitment to be in our feminine because you guys need it. Like
if you're masculine, we don't know what to do, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
your makeup, and there's a beautiful book by Luann Brizendine, the book on the female brain. And she talks about how like the male brain, like just needs to help and support and serve. And there's a lot of bodies of work on this, Alison Armstrong, all this great work on the male brain. The man is like hardwired to support, to fix, to make things. And so the woman's constantly doing that. I'm not letting a man do his job. Like
if you're constantly fixing everything. Yeah.
You just got to let them in. Let them show up. Let them make the reservation.
Part-time sometimes, right?
Yes.
Majority of the time, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's crucial.
So you've seen a huge shift then in your relationship because of this. Yeah.
Much deeper connection.
Yeah.
And respect for one another. And I've fallen in love with him again in a different way. And I believe it's the same for him.
Did you ever feel like the relationship, maybe I'm getting too personal here, but did you ever feel like the relationship was going to not work out in your marriage?
No, I always had a lot of faith in our relationship because even in the darkest times, we were willing to do the work.
Yeah.
And so I think that
you've been committed.
Yeah. But rather than just beyond commitment and having a ring, I think if the two people are willing to like do the spiritual and personal growth work around being in a relationship, it can work.
Yeah.
It really can work. It can thrive.
What's it mean to have a spiritual practice? What does that mean and look like? Does that mean praying every day?
What it means what you want it to mean. I mean, these books I write are helping people establish a spiritual relationship and practice of their own understanding. And so for me, what it means is having daily devotion to connecting to the universe, to source, to love, right? To God, to a million ways of calling it. I call it all, right? I'll call it God, I'll call it the universe, I'll call it spirit, but or alignment. But having daily devotion to that alignment.
Is that considered meditation or just a period of time?
Prayer, meditation, devoting time. And sometimes that time may only be 5 minutes in the morning, but for me, I make a commitment at least 20 to just really listen. And then in the afternoon, I try to do it as well because you get taken out all day long. And then throughout the day, I live in a constant prayer. Every moment there's like some shit that's thrown at me and I'm like, how can I see this differently? Help me change my mind about this. And just offering it up. And there's actually tons of prayers in this book, which I'm so proud of. I think that like one of my special skills is like prayer giver. Like I just like to give prayer and I love to like channel prayers. Just like, it's just like one of my favorite things to do.
What's one you're channeling right now?
All throughout the book, there's tons of prayers on surrender. And so that's probably one that I'm living in right now is thank you, universe, for taking this from me, helping me see this with love. Something very simple, right?
You just say that over in your mind or you say it out loud or
in my mind. If I'm with someone that's highly spiritual that wants to go there, I'll say it out loud.
Right.
But just being in that conscious communication and being in connection spiritually, it is a conversation. It's constantly bridging your lower vibe self to your higher self through prayer.
How does the universe have people's back when they feel like they'd never have a break? And they're, people in Syria, I just watched a documentary in Syria about there's just bombings every single day of just
good question.
Helpless people that are just trying to live life, have nothing to do with what's happening.
Yeah.
For people that just feel like I never get a break. The universe does not have my back. How are they supposed to believe or feel that it does?
Well, in those situations, that's when we need faith most. Because otherwise, what are you living for, right? And it's a beautiful question because it's very easy for us to sit here in your Los Angeles apartment,
look at this view,
best-selling books, and be like, the universe totally has my back. But looking at this refugees and looking at the bombings and looking at what's happening, in the world, that is devastation.
Or even just single moms of 3 who are like,
devastation.
I have I can't get the job. I have no time. I'm stressed. I'm just like overwhelmed.
So the answer in that is that we all, while some of our problems are far worse than others, at the root, we all have the same problem, which is choosing to lean into the fear, choosing to believe in the fear. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't want to offend anybody. So I don't want to take away anything from the people who are suffering versus the people who are thriving in first world countries, right? So let's not take anything away from the real suffering in this world.
Yeah.
But from a spiritual perspective, there's one problem, which is believing in the fear. And the more we believe in the fear, the more that becomes an epidemic, and that epidemic becomes a war, becomes all the division that we see in the world, it becomes racial injustice, or becomes, and that's the root cause of all of the problems in this world are based on our belief in fear. And so those people that are suffering and stuck in these very, very difficult situations, the ones that will thrive, and I write about many of them in the book, Lema Gabawi, and I write about, Viktor Frankl, and I write about the people who, in the midst of the darkest moments, chose to see the light, chose to see with love, chose to lean into love, and chose to lean into faith. And because of that faith, created movements. Gandhi, right? Created movements. And so because we have these divine powers of example, it's very easy for us to lean on them, and say it's that many people are given a tremendous amount of difficulty that will be far worse than the average person.
Right.
But in the same breath, what are you going to do with it? It's a lot to ask of somebody who's lost their home and doesn't have, how do you find love in those situations? But at the root of it all, it is a choice. It is a mental decision. And so they're probably, we should keep our eyes out for the miracles that we hear from the refugees, right? So like people that, through prayer and faith can have, found their way into a home that was exactly as it needed to be, or, there are miraculous stories. But I mean, in the same breath, it's also what I think is most important is for those of us who are in first world countries that don't have these problems, right? Or people who are not suffering from war, war or violence or bombing. It's really our responsibility to show up.
Yeah.
Show up in the greatest way that we can in honor of those who don't have the support and the resources that we have.
If you're looking for more greatness in your life, make sure to check out this video right here. And also check out our free PDF, The 3 Secrets to Unlock the Power of Your Mind to help you change your life. Download it right here.
Push through the excuses, the habits, the fears, and the actual physical constraints that you have in your life right now.